of Avram Zakim Baba Yamim, that idea that Avram was Yoshev B'Yeshiva, and that Yoshev B'Yeshiva was a preparation for Hashem Berachas Avram Bakoil, and Bakoil we said is a general bracha that's a skalus that includes all types of brachas, all types of levels. That's beyond his chalkus, and from that general level comes out the specific levels, including the pshat of Avram Bakoil. Bakoil goes on his son Yitzchak, and this was all an introduction, we said, to Shidduch of Yitzchak and Rivka. So we started going into the idea that Avram Avinu was the level of Avram Seichel Anelam Mikol Rayon, and then from that level of Seichel Anelam Mikol Rayon, he came down to Avraham with a hey, Tzam Shachal Amata. So to explain the idea of Seichel Anelam Mikol Rayon, he goes into the level that the Seichel has already Hagdara and Metzias of Seichel, except it's very high and very concealed, like a flame within a coal. Now, a flame within a coal, on the one hand, it's still a flame. On the other hand, it is concealed within the coal. So it's a helam sheyeshnei b'metzias. It's a concealment that it's in existence. Then there's a level of concealment that is not in existence, and the example of that is the tzur hachalamish, a flint rock, that there's no metzias of fire within the flint rock, and there's no hagdara and hagbola in the way it's found over there in that flint rock. So now he's going to go on to explain more about this difference of the helam sheyeshna b'metzias, a concealment that there is the existence, versus the concealment that there's no existence in that the way it's concealed, it's not in a state of existence at all. So again, fourth page of the printout, page Ches, line 15. The difference in the type of concealment. Im yeshna b'metzias hayenu b'metzias, if the concealment is in such a way that it exists, or it's a concealment that it is so deeply not there that's not even any existence. Matters also for the type of revelation that's coming out from the concealment. Either how do you bring out the fire from the coal that has its own properties and its own way of revealing it, versus how do you extract fire from the flint rock that is something that has a totally different way of revealing it. So even the state of gilui out of the helam, it's not just the way they are concealed, they are different, but in the manner of their gilui, it makes a difference if it's a helam sheyeshna b'metzias or a helam she'einu b'metzias. The flame that's within the coal, since it's in the concealment, that is in the state that it exists over there. How does it become revealed from its concealed state? Through blowing with his mouth. There is some type of effort, some type of toil when you're blowing, that you need to blow on this fire, blow on the coal for the fire to come out. That's not something that it doesn't involve any effort. It does have effort. You need to put in work into blowing the coal to get the fire out. Like it's explained in Tanya. The Alter Rebbe makes a distinction between how a person speaks versus how a person blows. In both cases, breath is coming out of his mouth. And yet, the difference is that when a person speaks, it takes no effort whatsoever. There's no toil. Whereas when a person blows, the blowing, since it's coming from within him, like the Alter Rebbe also says in Perek Beis in Tanya, so because it's coming from deep within him, therefore it is something that is takes toil. So despite the toil that the blowing takes, yet, and that is for the helam sheyeshnev mitzias, to get the fire out of the coal. Aval became still in all yigia zu ein lo erech v'dimyon klal liyigia hadrusha kedei lahoitzi nitzutz eish mitzurach halamish. The type of effort necessary, even though it involves blowing, to extract and to bring out the fire from a coal is incomparable to the toil and effort that's necessary to get a spark of fire out of this flint rock. The reason why there's such a difference, why does it take so much more effort to be able to extract fire from a flint rock than it does to extract fire from a coal? For this very reason that we've been speaking about before. Because the way the fire is found, the flame, the way it's found within the coal, is in such a way that it already takes on and has the form of a flame. So since it's a form of a flame, you're not really creating something new over here. What you have over here really is the flame was only here, and now it's over there as well. So instead of being only in the coal, so now it's coming out of the coal. So it doesn't need so much effort to make such a transition because you're really moving it from point A to point B. As opposed to the fire that's within the flint rock, you do not have actual fire over there, and therefore when you are extracting fire from a flint rock, you have to, like, to a certain degree, create the fire, not just extract it. How do we see that it's so different, the fire in the flint rock? Even if you were to put the flint rock to be immersed in water, it doesn't change the fire that exists within the flint rock, as opposed to if you would take a hot coal that has fire within it, that has a flame within it, and you'd immerse it in water, so then it would extinguish it. There would be no fire left inside that coal. And so too, it doesn't affect, top of page test, by putting and immersing the flint rock in water. It doesn't in any way impact the effort and the toil that's necessary to be able to extract the spark of fire out of this flint rock. The fact that you're immersing it doesn't impact it whatsoever. Because of this, there's a further difference. There's also a difference, not just in the way that you reveal it from the concealment, like we said, that the toil necessary and the effort necessary in revealing it from the concealment of a flint rock is much more and much greater effort than is necessary to reveal it from a coal. But even once it's revealed, there's also a difference. The revelation of the flame out of the coal is in such a manner that there is a limit to what degree can be this revelation. So let's actually see the footnote on the bottom of the page, footnote 26. So he says, when the power of the fire that's within the coal becomes consumed, kasher misamim v'nichbe v'chia gavna, when it becomes darkened and becomes extinguished, nifsak agili gamkin, so the revelation of the fire that's on top of this coal also ceases. Let's go back to the text, line 6. As opposed to the spark of fire that we extract out of the flint rock, the entire idea of limitation doesn't apply. So let's travel back down to footnote 27. This capability of bringing forth sparks from a flint rock does never stop. As long as the rock is there, it can always give forth. It will always be able to bring out from it sparks of fire. Why does it not have limitation? Because something that is already formed, something that's already delineated, like the flame that's inside the coal, so that is already a limited thing that's already formed. Formation, siyur, is already a limitation. So therefore, there's only so much that can come out fire from that when it comes out of it. But something that has no form to it, like the helam she'eina b'metzias, the concealment that has no existence to it, of the fire, the way it's in the flint rock, that, since it has no form, therefore it has no boundary to the degree that you can keep on for again and again extracting from it sparks of fire. The Rebbe says parenthetically, to the degree that it's possible to say with a physical thing that it's not in the category at all, in the type of limitation, because everything physical, by the very nature that it's physical, is already bounded by limitations. But within the physical realm, the sparks of fire that can be extracted from a flint rock has no limitations. Line 11. Based on this mashal, that we brought this entire mashal to be able to explain that the seichel hanela mekol rayon, the level of Avraham, the level of his exalted intellect, is like a helam sheyeshne b'metzias. Dihine gam b'seichel yesh koyach shu omnam nela mekol rayon. True, in the level of intellect, there is such a high level that it's concealed from every thought. So it's concealed. But what type of concealment? It's a concealment that has a metzias. Aval afal pikein harehu shoyrish l'seichel bilvad. On the one hand, it's only a root for the intellect. It's not an actual intellect. Therefore, to be able to go from point A to point B, the way it's concealed, to be able to become a revealed intellect, from this exalted level of intellect should come out the seichel in a way that's revealed. Yes, there's a need for effort, just like we said before, that when it comes to extracting a flame from a coal, you need to put in effort for that extraction. Avol, and that's the blowing, that you blow on the flame that's concealed in the coal. Avol ishtadlazu eina be'erech l'ishtadlus hadrusham k'dei lahamshich seichel medargish benefesh shalomayla gam mekoyach hamaskel. This effort that you need to take out of from the level of Nela Mikol Rayin to a level of revealed intellect is not like the same level of extracting and bringing out an idea from such a level in the nefesh that's even higher than Koyach HaMaskil. Koyach HaMaskil is where all ideas generally flow from. So he's going to explain what he means. And this is like similar to the difference between the flame coming out of a coal versus the spark coming out of the flint rock. So he says, line 18, the idea behind this is, like we see in actuality in the study of Chachma, how much more so in the study of Chachma Torah. So that the intellect of the Torah should be by him in a revealed way. There's a need for toil. Like the Chazal say, that if a person says, I did not toil, I did not put in effort, and I found, meaning was successful in my Torah learning, don't believe him. Because it's a given rule. There needs to be a certain relationship between the product and the effort. Any matter of understanding in Chachma has to be specifically through toil. And it's impossible otherwise if you do not have toil. To such a degree that we say, Al Tamin, do not believe. It's impossible to be an existence that would be Chachma without toil. Still in all, the toil that we're talking about over here is similar to the toil of extracting and bringing out flame from a coal. It's not a toil, it's not an effort that changes the person. It's only effects to reveal a matter that was by him in a concealment that's close to revelation. Because, like we said before, when the flame comes out of the coal, you're not changing the fire. The fire was a fire even beforehand the coal, and that's why if you drop it in water, it'll extinguish. So it's really fire over there, except you're moving it from the location of being concealed in the coal to being revealed. Either this seichel was in a way that was in a concealment that was close to being revealed. Sometimes you have, let's say, an idea that's like just at the tip of your mind. It's about, you could feel it's there, about to become revealed, or ready to become revealed. Then there's an even higher level of the concealment. Or even a concealment that is not yet a level that's an introduction to the revelation. You don't even feel it's like over there in your mind. You just have no idea how you're going to explain this. In a case where it's such a type of concealment, where it's not a preparation and not an introduction to the revelation, then there's a need for a greater toil and effort. It all depends to what degree the idea is concealed and how far back in the person's mind it's concealed. Top of page Yud. This is obvious and can be derived from every idea of understanding in Chachma. That has to be through toil and effort, specifically Kanisker. So therefore, the fact that something may be a little bit distant means you need to have more toil. Something that's closer to being understood needs less toil. But all of these cases where you need more or less toil, this is all talking about a concealment that is there in a state of existence. So the Rebbe goes on, but then there's something deeper, that is similar to the spark in the flint rock, that is an idea that's coming from such a place that's a concealment that's not even Metzias at all. Line 3, but there's such a type of way. Through much toil and effort, until powerful toil, He changes the manner of his connection to the idea of intellect, that his whole association with ideas changes. It's not just, I have a new idea here. His whole mind approach is different. It's to such a degree that by him has opened up new possibilities, new potentials, new powers that are incomparable to his idea, his source and his power of coming up with ideas the way it was before this powerful effort. In other words, like he becomes like almost like a changed person that you see from, sometimes you can see a person that works so hard on himself and understanding and on learning that he becomes like a totally different person. This is not the same mind that you knew him a few years back, because he changed his whole approach. And this is not just any type of toil. This is a Yegia Atzuma. Why is that so? Because he's drawing down. Not only from a level of concealment that it has something to do with the existence, meaning it's close to existence. And surely he's not drawing down from a concealment that already exists to a certain degree. To be able to draw down from there, all you need is a close type of toil, an easier type of effort. But rather, this type of toil that he needs to go in an excess fashion, a powerful type of toil and effort, is it's from a state of concealment that's not at all shaykh, not at all associated with any type of existence that we say in that level there is an existence of seichel. Therefore, through drawing down from a level that the seichel is so concealed beyond any type of existence of seichel over there, just like the spark, there's no fire even in that flint rod. So therefore, Yachli is Shinui. So by drawing down from such a place, he can become changed by it. Though his power of coming up with ideas, the way it is, as far as the way he was born with it, before he made all of this toil, that is only connected, that is only possible for a type of understanding, comprehension, in a way that's constricted or measured and has a boundary to it. That would have been his own type of understanding from birth without this excess and powerful toil. Through a powerful toil, he has the capability to increase and make grow his vessels of his intellect, he could increase the power and the flow of intellect and his mind in a way that's higher even than the power that usually is responsible for bringing out ideas, until he becomes an unbelievable, amazing chacham, way beyond anything, because he's tapping into this helm she'einu b'metzias.